My son is David Barrasso. He was diagnosed with autism.
We have a son, Anthony, who's autistic.
I have a daughter, Jessica Rogers. She has autism.
Our son Nicholas is profoundly affected by autism.
When Dylan was about 1.5 years old, he began to diverge developmentally from his twin brother. When you discover that your child has autism, all your dreams, all you had ever hoped for your child goes out the window, and it's devastating.
Football! That's right. And what do you yell at the TV?
I started preparing my daughter for my death from the minute I found out that she had autism. What would ever happen to her if I wasn't around?
Mortality comes a little closer, and I started to think, like, what would happen? What would we do?
It's very scary because you're not going to live forever. What are we going to do?
Who can we entrust to ensure that he thrives and becomes the best individual that he can be?
Up until 16 years ago, I had no idea what autism was. Then, after having triplets, I would say about 18 months into my boys' lives, they were diagnosed with what was autism. I started to realize this was a lifelong disability that my boys and my entire family was going to be impacted by.
Within the next 5 to 10 years, over 3 million people with autism will live in the United States. Tens of thousands of those people will live on Long Island.
We're estimating there'll be something in the order of 5 to 6 million individuals with autism in the United States within the next 10 to 20 years. So that's a lot of people. It's an enormous number.
Sure, certainly.
For Jessica, there are no options right now. The state just posts you as, we're gonna coast. This girl's gonna coast for a while.
So what's the waiting list look like? And the woman looked at me and said, for you, at least 10 years. There are people with autism and their parents are 80 years old and they're still living at home.
It would really be unfair to have me be 80 years old and Nicholas to be in his 40s, and I can no longer take care of him, and then his world is turned upside down. It's not fair.
What is the J for?
You start thinking, how do we help them have a fulfilling life so that they can be as happy as possible? So I started thinking about for my 2 boys, but then I realized that's not enough. I met so many families along the way, so many children along the way. What about them? So what can we do in the most comprehensive way to help these families, help these children flourish? You know, we want to build an organization that's going to protect them, not isolate them from the community. That's very different. We want to be in a vibrant downtown area. We've identified Patchogue as one of those areas, and Mayor Pontieri, who understands what we're going through, understands the population, and is so forward-thinking.
We're a village that's inclusive, a village that's diverse. What they're looking to do fits very much into the philosophy of the community itself.
If you walk through Patchogue, you'll understand exactly why we want to be there. It truly is a community in every sense of the word. The initial vision really is to provide not a home, a community, where our residences or those on the spectrum can live, work, and have a real purpose in life.
I have a grandson with autism. We know what it takes to get a project approved. We've done that many times, and I think we could be a big help in getting this project off the ground.
One of my children was diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. I really reversed course in my entire career. I basically switched my career from plant genetics to human genetics. One thing that is thought to be heavily involved in autism is sensory crosstalk. There's too much crosstalk between the senses. There's a bit of sensory overload for many individuals with autism. They do have hypersensitivity to a lot of environmental stimuli.
The work that we're doing with our architect and developer is focusing on the cutting-edge research that exists for developing residences for people with autism.
The function of the facility is going to outweigh the form. We want to make sure we take into account the needs, and it's up to us to design it accordingly.
So there's just many different challenges for people with autism. Everything's a little bit harder, and once we were in the community and I figured out what makes them happy, they flourish. Their whole world changes. Sorry.
We want to be able to find what our residents really take a liking to. They may like being in a kitchen. They may like being at a car wash. They may like being near mechanics. We don't know what it may be.
People with autism have so many different skills, and they'd be so helpful in the community, and it would just be a great thing for everybody.
I see it with my own boys. You know, when my boys feel that they're doing something meaningful, they're so much happier. That's the ultimate vision of LIAC. That's what I want for all of our residents, so that they know that they're leading a purposeful life, and we're going to find ways to help them develop to their fullest capacity.
Families can be assured that when they take their last breath, they're going to be okay, because they'll know that their child is in the care of Long Island Autism Community's dedicated staff, who will care for them as if they were their own.
We need these communities to last long after the parents are gone. So we have spent a long time, unfortunately my background in wealth management has helped with this, in creating financial models that will be sustainable for hopefully in perpetuity. But now the hard work starts. We need to raise the funds to get this off the ground and get it moving, because so many people have talked about doing something like this, no one has actually done it. We need to find those people, those organizations that understand the challenge that we're going to have and are willing to support us financially, because that's the key. It's got to start somewhere. This is where it's starting.